Okay, here we are today, and we're back to work here on some really old units here. Uh, we're fixing up a set, and we might have mentioned this. This is the B unit, and there are the two A units. Um, they're very old units. I'm almost sure they go up pretty close to going back into the last century. And they had MRC decoders in them. This was before Soundtraxx started doing it. We had a lot of trouble with the decoders eventually, and one of them malfunctioned completely. One's not working. It does all kind of crazy things. So we've just bit the bullet and picked up on three Tsunami two decoders, and we're installing them. And this is one for the A units, but got this one done. This is the old board. Don't have much to say for it. MRC kind of left a lot of people hanging and dry. But anyway, let's move on. So this is the new Soundtraxx decoder, and of course we also got, let's get this over here turned up here, a Soundtraxx current keeper. Now I've set this all up, it's functioning, got it, went over and tested it. Used the speaker that came with the unit. It was already here. Believe me, for Soundtraxx at CV129, it was set at 220. The range is 0 to 255. It was set at about 225, and I blew the horn for the first time, and believe me, my eardrums are still ringing. Gotta watch that, people. Anyway, it's now set at 32. Okay. And it's still plenty loud enough. So it worked real well. We got to get this attached. The current keeper. Okay, there's the current keeper number. Sorry, it's a little torn there. But if you're looking to get one, this works great. This is going to end any problems you have with track. Athearn has a little issue with back on these models with contact pickups. That eliminates that. Dirty track. You know, you still need to maintain things and try to do the best you can with your track, but you know, there's invariably that one little spot that used to make the engines hiccup. Well, put one of these in your engines, and neat part about here is it just plugs right in. So forth. Now all the rest of the connections on this board are soldered. Simple to do. We've got the right equipment to do it with. A little bit of a nice solder. And everything here is relatively simple. Now, this is the B unit, so there's no headlights. That's the next one we're going to get into, is the A unit, is the headlights. I'll get this second part here. I'll go do a little sound check for you. But we put a little pad. That's where we are. We just put a little styrofoam pad, foam double stick pad on top of the engine. We're going to stick that to it, and then we'll put a little pad there and stick the current keeper to it. The little platform was put there by a friend of mine who was doing his own current keepers. Let's just put it this way. I highly recommend you get the Soundtraxx current keeper, okay? Unless you're really into all this and understand it, it's best to stick with the stuff that's all designed to work together. So anyway, we'll keep on going here, and we'll update this. Okay, so we've got this thing put back together here. This is 5542, and you really almost have to get a magnifying glass out. I can't even get the phone to focus on it. But anyway, put my headband magnifiers on and got the number. So we ring the bell, she fires off. Wow. Only thing we're missing, George, is the black smoke. Come on, man. Should have had a little smoke coming out. But anyway, we got it all set up. And now that is set on 129, is set on 32. Let's see, we're going forward here. So that's going to be up to the left. Steam generator on a B unit, which is on the rear, that tells you the rear end. Also, if it's done correctly, painted right, there's a little small F up on the front that says that's the forward end. Hit reverse here. Now, like all good Soundtraxx decoders, this thing's got a myriad of sounds in it. And if I take this controller and I push the option key, which is set to 122, you get F10 through 19 and then F20 through 28. So you can sit there and play with them all. So that's our little first one doing here with the F unit for the Denver Rio Grande. These were Athearn Genesis units, and they had MRC decoders in them. No longer. Now got the Soundtraxx decoders, Tsunami 2s, and we'll move on. The next one gets to be a challenge. We're getting into, we're going to have to get into doing the headlights. And I'm going to use LEDs. So we're going to have to do put some resistors in the circuitry. So there it is. Okay, so we got one of the A units out, and we're putting all the Tsunami 2 decoder in it. Now, we have a keep alive. It's not securely placed yet. And this is the original speaker that comes with the unit. It was on the MRC board that we took out. Gee whiz, G-scale, here we come. So that's all the factory settings. We're going to go in here and lower some sound down here, but that's a speed step 1. That's going to 2. Change directions. That's 2, 3. Okay, so works great. And again, like the other unit, sounds terrific. Wow. With that speaker, the setup and everything. Enough of that. Let me go do some CV resets here and get the volume down on this. Okay, so we're going to continue on with our story here on our newer decoders in our Denver Rio Grande ABA set. So again, the Tsunami 2 diesel decoder. And we've now succeeded in getting a LED hooked up to F3. Okay, that's the first two are the speaker, and then the next one, and I'll give you a pointer here. The first two right there say speaker, and then the third one right there where I'm pointing now, that's the F3. And that's the position we used, okay? There's our 1.5 light bulbs. Hooked those up wrong. I should have known better. We had a 1.5 spot on the board to hook those to, and we didn't do it. Blew those, but that's okay because we were going to change that to an LED anyway. So anyway, that's where the project goes. So we're waiting on parts. We've ordered some tower, and I'll show them when they come in. Tower LEDs, 2mm, 2 and 3mm, and we got some 750 ohm resistors coming as per somebody's instructions. Right, George? Okay. All right. Now, how do we get the Mars light effect? Mars light effect. Okay. So this is DecoderPro. JMRI DecoderPro. And there's our little engine right there. And I'm not going to sit here and give you a lesson on how to use this, because believe me, I'm the last guy you want giving you this lesson. But this is the magic tool with all these new decoders to use. This right here is F3, FX3 is the one we used. And we did, and I had no problem with catching this one. When you go down here, there is just, okay, endless options. Didn't see this at first, but stumbled into it later, okay, and selected Mars light, okay. All right, and then we also went in here and changed it from a incandescent bulb to an LED, okay. So now, in our system, the Mars light stays on if the engine's in reverse or forward, so we also just did that. You can also go into this up here, functioning maps, and you see again the F24, which is F23, the key, and we put the Mars light on all the time. So that's where you get to do all your fancy lighting at. I'll just say that's it. We did reduce the master brightness a little bit. It was real bright, and believe me, that little light over there, once we get it mounted up correctly, it'll be just fine. Reading and writing and how this thing works, that's going to be another project for somebody to teach you how to use DecoderPro, because like I said, I had to stumble in through this, and it did take me a while to get it to where it was effectively putting the instructions into the engine. Don't forget, when all else fails, shut everything down and restart. Okay. It's a little tip there I learned a long time ago when you fool with. Okay, so we got in one of the tower type lights, LED lights, that seen on another video, and I ordered some. And then you can see by the way it's set up, if you see in the shrink wrap there, the resistor is built in, and this is rated from about 9.1 volts to 12 volts. So the output on the circuit board right there in the front for headlights, which is 12 volts, will work. And it's got the resistor in it. Of course, you're seeing a little flicker. If I look at this with my eyes, I can't see that flicker. Okay, has to do with the light degrees. So if we go over here and we get to, we can hit function 24, we now have the Mars light and the headlight. Now the next trick is going to be getting them all into here. Okay, never an ending project here. So on we go. Okay, so now we have headlights. We got a little detail work to follow up on. Need to black out in the back on some wires and some stuff so we don't have light coming into the cab. And we got the headlight in the front working, which, as I explained before, we have it set to go out. So the Mars light's still on. And I gotta tell you, what you're seeing on the camera, because I'm looking right through it here, on the Mars light and what I see is different. So that's a little something that's, again, the camera's seeing things differently than your eye will. So we turn the headlights back on. Now it's set, I have it set where it's only on and forward. But believe me, that runs. Great run. Well, on with our little project here on this ABA set of Athearn Genesis turn of the century locomotives that had MRC decoders in them. And our conversion to a Soundtraxx Tsunami 2 decoder, and I'll get the sheet here so you'll know exactly which one. That's the whole story. This is the decoder in the engine now, and we'll go on to what we've done. Pretty much right at the moment, leaving the decoder free floating. The first A unit, I did put a piece of double stick tape between the motor and the bottom of the decoder board. But again, we'll do that. I put a little thin piece of double stick tape right here for the current keeper. Okay, I had a thicker piece and it was sticking up too much and so forth. I had to rearrange that. So now what we're going to talk about right here is the lights. Did a little bit of this before, but since have gotten a hold of, after watching someone else's video, this is not my great find. People saw this on somebody else's video, went and searched it on eBay and was able to order these lights. Now, we're talking about right here. These are color white, rated between 9 and 12 volts. Okay, this is what you get in the bag. There's 10 of them in the bag. We've used some of them. All right, and this is what they look, the connection wires look like. These are all hooked up. And we program this on DecoderPro. So if I push on, now on an NCE controller, a couple of ways to get at things, and I'll kind of try to go with this to where you understand. This is on function F3, which is set up in the decoder where it comes to you as function F20. It's FX3 is where the little black wires connected. The red wires on these LEDs, or you use it as your common or positive, or whatever you want to call it, but that's the red wires get hooked together. The black wires are going to be the other side, and they go to the locations on the board. So once I had them all hooked up, and the first LED is hooked to the headlights. Okay. Unfortunately, this comes out kind of bright on the video camera here, but once we get it in the engine and I get the back of it painted out black so we don't have light spilling into the cab, this will work just fine. I have one of these in the other A unit as the headlight now. So that's the headlight now. And of course, I'm just pushing headlight right here on the thing, or I could go down here and push 0 and it comes on also. Now on an NCA controller, if you go into the cab control things and you hold select loco down and set your cab to the cab number, if you keep going down that list, you'll get to the program option key, and this option key on my NC controllers is programmed to 122, which when I press option, I get F10 once, I get F10 through F19. If I press option again, I get F20 through 28. Then I go press 4, and we get function 24, which now is a Mars light. Okay, what you're seeing in your picture is not what my eyesight sees. Okay, I see a really good, neat looking Mars light. Sorry, can't do anything about the photography and the cycle rate on the light. The camera's very fast, and your eyesight is not as fast as this camera is. Okay, so let's just let it go at that. But to turn it off, I go back here and just hit function, and then I hit 4, and it goes out. So that's now you could reprogram function keys on your whole thing and have it somewhere else, but I'm not getting into that. That's not what I'm here about. I'm here about trying to get some good running engines functioning, and the only thing that was wrong with them is the decoders, and that we fixed all that. Got bells. These really good. We'll give you a rundown with all 3 units together. Now, this was the speaker that was with the MRC system. It's really good. I have turned the volume down on these units way down. I think I'm using it's 0 to 255. I think I'm at 64 on the volume, both the master volume and the horn volume. So believe me, when I first hit it, it was blow you out the room. But anyway, and of course the old hit the 8 button, we got it all shut down. So anyway, everything seems to be great. I'm going to try to button this thing up. This is the shell. Still got the old lights in it. I have to go take those lights out. I got to create a little round hole for the tip of the bulb to stick in, get the bulbs in place, and then paint out the back of the lights black so we don't have a lot of light spilling up in the cab. And that'll finish the project. We'll give you a final run through here with all 3 units and put them into service. Got to get that done. But anyway, nice equipment. It's just bad electronics in it from the very get-go. But at least Athearn recovered. They now all come with Soundtraxx decoders in them. And as you've seen many of my videos with Mr. George from Soundtraxx telling you all about it, this really works well. So we're moving on here, and a couple more pieces to go. We're now on Christmas Day, okay? Okay, a couple other things here that we've got while we're out fishing around. we got some of these. These are called tower LEDs. You could put a hole in something and run that in there, blacken out the back, and you'd have a really neat light source. You could play with these and come up with all kind of neat things. Now, if you do this, use this type of light, assuming you're using the Soundtraxx board and the F functions for specialty lights, or the light in the front of the train, the main light, the headlight, you're gonna have to put a resistor on it, and that's what in the picture and the video I watched. This is what it is. So I bought some. Believe me, because me trying to figure this all out, like most of us, this is not my forte, but I do understand you have to get the resistor can go on either side, but you got to get the positive and negative. Light won't light, but you got to have a resistor in there, or you'll fry that little 2mm LED real quick. So got to have some things. I got this off of eBay. This is where the Tower 55 lights came from. Wait a minute, where's the name? Subscription LED bright lights. Let's see here. Lighthouse LEDs, 5x2 power LED lights. Lighthouse LEDs is what I guess it is. What I'll try to do is get the eBay receipt up, and you can, and that way if you want to go get them, you can get them. But that's that little LED right there. They come in a pack like this with 10 of them in there, I think. So you got it. So we have these. Now, the one nice part about these, and I got to point this out, that has a resistor built into it. You can see it. So, you know, in the video I watched, the person that was doing it, you know, said difficult to deal with the big wires. I can't say I had a much problem with the other one I did. But I guess it's kind of like a personal preference thing and how you want to do it. But this seems to be something that will work easily. I have enough space. I don't need to shorten those wires up. And I don't intend to, for one reason. If I have to open up the cab of the engine, once all this is set, I don't want to have to undo the LEDs. So if the wires will fit up in the top of the engine, I want to leave them there so it'll work. Now, let's go over here. How did you set the lights? So, and again, I'm not going to get into a lesson on how to use DecoderPro because I'm the wrong guy to give it to you. Believe me, this is a struggle for me to get this all done, but you know, eventually get it all done. This is the main page. There's the engines we're working on. This is actually the one we're working on right now. You click up here, you get it started. All the connections have to be right. You do it. You go down here to program. Over here, you hit program, and you got to be on the right engine over here. And then you go to the screen that says up here, lights. You also want to get into function map because you want to tell when the lights can be used. And you go to that sheet, you'll see it. But here's your headlight. We changed it. You get a pop-down menu. Okay, see Mars lights next. All kind of lights you can have. And we also went here and we changed it to LED. And on this headlight, we are only going to want it to be, the headlight to be on in the forward position. So there it is. Then for your function F3, FX3, we have it set to a Mars light, we have it set to LED, and we're controlling it both forward and reverse. So there's all kind of things you can do here that help you play with these fancy lights, if you have ditch lights and all that kind of stuff, I saw some videos that talk about ways to set all that up. So I'll just leave it at this. This is how I set the light for the Mars light. And the way all this, the default here is incandescent light bulb. So there's only two choices, incandescent or LED. So we went to LED. It has something to do with the light frequency, which again, your eye's not going to see it, but your camera can. If you got a good smartphone, believe me, you take video, some of the headlights really don't come anywhere close to what your human eye sees. But anyway, we'll go on, and this is where we are at right now in the project, getting close to the end. Okay, now we have them all three set up in a consist, and primary objective has been achieved. All right. So now we have Mars light and headlight. That's 5541. Now, as you see here, it says consist 5541. My controllers are set up for two recalls. NC, you can set this up to do 6, but since that leads to disaster, we only have it set to 2. It kind of keeps people from getting into over their heads. So we'll hit the recall button, and we'll come over here and select loco. Let's see, 5531, enter. So we now have consist 5531. So now we're running it from this end. Turn the headlight on, and we go, in this case, because this is function 24, we have to hit the option key twice. And now we got 20 to 28, so we hit 4, and now we have a Mars light on the other end. Okay, so then we hit 1, and they all run this way. And the horn and the bell moves to this unit. Now, the other 2 units are doing the sound, motor, other things, air. But the horn and the bell are only in the lead unit. And if, depending on which one you call up. Now, the Mars light's still running on the back unit, so I'd have to go in and shut that off. I could reset this to where it only works going forward, which I may do. Now, we have one little step left to do here. And I don't know if I want to rush into this because we're not going to be using these tomorrow. The front couplers on the 2A units are not on, so we can't pull anything. Okay, all right. But again, this kind of really puts a wrap on this. So basically, here we are with the finished Denver Rio Grande F7s. We're going to put a wrap on this and try to go make up a video. The 3 units were all Athearn Genesis units, and they were purchased back right around the turn of the century. They all had MRC decoders in them. They all now have Soundtraxx decoders and current keepers and LED lighting. All three units are sound. All three units have the current keeper in them. In both the A units have the Mars light set up, and the headlight with LED. And do not, you have to watch the video. I can't say this. The camera may be affecting the LED the way it appears as far as the Mars light because of the cycle rate